Sloane Benson is a single, successful woman, but with a spotty dating record. 6 months into being single, she is dreading going home for Christmas. She stands outside her mother's house, knowing it is brimming with her happily married and a mother of 4 elder sister, her younger brother, and her judgmental mother. Sloane exasperatedly looks at the house, while taking in a few puffs of courage in the form of a cigarette. Then she pops a few mints in her mouth to blanket the smell of tobacco, and courageously walks into the house. She is greeted by her mother, Elaine, who instead of greeting Sloane, comments on the clothes Sloane is wearing. Sloane expected this already. Her Aunt Susan has brought home a mall Santa as her date. Elaine is not at all thrilled about that, but Aunt Susan is known to be the single, fun aunt. She has never had a steady relationship and always dates around. Sloane finally meets her sister, Abby. Everyone exchanges greetings. Abby tells Sloane that she has got to get back out there. It has been 6 months since she broke up with her previous boyfriend, and it is time for Sloane to start dating again. Elaine comments, much disappointedly, that Sloane cannot expect to meet someone if she sits at home all day, wearing pajamas. Sloane counters by telling her that it is called working remotely. Her mother calls Sloane out on her smoking. Sloane tries to lie her way out of it but fails. Elaine tells her no man wants to marry a smoker who lies. Sloane grunts that no man wants a mother-in-law who complains. Sloane's brother, York, shows up next. He is with his girlfriend, Liz. He teases Sloane for being alone and Liz chides him, saying he should be sensitive towards Sloane because she is sad and alone. Sloane grunts that she is not sad. Then, Peter walks in and asks Sloane why she did not call Rodney because she looks sad. That is the last straw. Sloane is in the kitchen, sipping vodka with her Aunt Susan. The mall Santa is helping himself to the food, as the two women talk, while they watch him make a mess. Aunt Susan tells Sloane to relax about her date already. It is not like she is going to marry him. He is just her holiday. Sloane is intrigued by that term. Aunt Susan explains that it is just a date with no commitments, and they only meet up on holidays so that they are not alone and can escape the judgment from the family. In another place, there is another man who has befallen victim to the holiday curse. Jackson is an Australian pro golfer. In order to escape being alone during Christmas, Jackson decides to take up the offer of a woman he barely knows to go to her parents' place for the holiday. Jackson is nervous about this arrangement, but Carly assures him it is a very casual affair. But the second her parents open the door, they begin smothering Jackson. They are dressed in matching sweaters and are very clingy. They make Jackson wear a matching sweater as well. All through the night they smother Jackson with pictures of Carly and treat him like he is their son-in-law. Her mother goes so far as to tell him he is practically family. Jackson feels completely overwhelmed by their behavior and is regretting his decision to come here. Back at Sloane's holiday home, she is sitting at the kids' table with her nieces and nephews to avoid judgment at the adult table. But Sloane cannot catch a break. Even the kids are mocking her now. Her niece Daisy asks her why she did not call Rodney, the guy everyone has been asking Sloane about. When Sloane turns the question around at Daisy, the kid tells her she has already got a boyfriend. His name is Levy, and he shares his juice box with her. Sloane is bitter after her breakup, and she has had a few too many vodka martinis. She scares Daisy away by telling her how one day she will get ditched by Levy for another girl. It is time to exchange gifts. Sloane gets gifted pajamas for Christmas that are way too big and ugly, which she pretends to like. On the other side of the city, Carly's parents go as far as to get Jackson a Christmas present. They gift him khaki pants. Jackson is unsure how to react, but he tries to play along. He is feeling so awkward and out of place. When Carly asks Jackson for a present as well, Jackson tells her he does not have it. They had previously decided to not exchange presents, but Carly was still expecting one. She gets mad at Jackson and screams intimate details of their two-date relationship in front of her parents. Jackson feels flustered and loses his calm. The two have an argument that ends in Jackson throwing the matching sweater back at her and storming out of the house, but not without his gifted khaki pants. To make Sloane's day even worse, her little brother, York, goes on to propose to his girlfriend of 3 months. While everyone around them is rejoicing, Sloane is trying to be happy for her brother, but cannot help feeling the dread of being the last single sibling in the family. A few days later, Jackson is in line at the store to exchange the khaki pants that were gifted. He cannot seem to get through to the store employee. Behind him, Sloane is also waiting in line to exchange the present her sister gave her. They two get into a snappy verbal exchange, and while waiting in line, they bond over their terrible Christmases. Eventually, the two hit a somewhat understanding. Another girl is standing behind them and offers to buy the khakis from Jackson for $40. Jackson would not sell them for less than $80. When the store refuses to refund or exchange their clothes, Jackson exchanges his khakis and Sloane's ugly pajamas with the girl in the line behind them for $45 and a 2-for-1 pretzel coupon. Sloane and Jackson get some pretzels, but when Sloane offers him, he refuses. He is a fitness freak and does not like to put unhealthy carbs in his body. The two of them walk into the mall, talking about their best Christmases as kids. They are engrossed in conversation when someone calls Sloane's name. It is the mall Santa whom her Aunt Susan brought home for Christmas. Sloane tries to avoid the guy. When she tries to hide behind Jackson, he asks her how she knows that guy. So, Sloane lets him in on her aunt's holiday strategy. Jackson is impressed and intrigued. He peppers Sloane with more questions about how a holiday works. She tells him. Jackson tells her it is exactly what he needs for New Year's Eve. He is done with casual dating and now wants a no-strings-attached arrangement with someone who will accompany him on holiday events as his date. When Sloane counters him by saying it is not easy being a happy single woman on holidays either, because no one believes her, he calls her out because she is obviously not happy. Sloane takes offense to that. But Jackson goes on to say that humans are not supposed to be alone on holidays. They need companionship and someone to drunk mock strangers at a party. Sloane wistfully says she misses doing that. Jackson gets excited and proposes they can be each other's holidates. Sloane laughs his ridiculous suggestion off. She barely knows the guy. She starts to walk away, but Jackson follows. He tries to convince her to be his holiday so they can avoid spending the holidays alone. He even goes as far as to say that he is not attracted to her, and so she should not be worried about anything happening between them. He just wants to have fun at a party without any complications. They finally exchange introductions, and Jackson gives Sloane his contact card. Sloane tells him she will not use it, and the two part ways. The next day, Sloane is working at home when her mother video calls her. Annoyed by her incessant calling, Sloane answers it, and the first thing her mother does is chide Sloane for wearing a casual t-shirt to work. The next thing, she introduces Sloane to a young man, her neighbor who just moved in. His name is Farouk, and he is a single doctor. Elaine tries to set Sloane with Farouk for New Year, but Sloane disconnects the call out of frustration. She then spots Jackson's card on her table and picks it up, thinking hard as she looks at it. Jackson is practicing his golf moves in the company of his friend Neil. The two men are swiping on dating apps when Jackson gets a call from Sloane. It is New Year's Eve. Jackson and Sloane are at the party drunk mocking strangers. They set eyes on a couple who entered with their friends. The man is sweating through his shirt, and the woman is looking radiant. Jackson makes a wager that they are getting engaged that night. Sloane is impressed by his analytical skills. Jackson compliments Sloane's dress and her body. Sloane accepts the compliment happily and returns the same to him. The two are having a lot of fun together when Sloane spots her Aunt Susan on the other side of the room. Aunt Susan is here with a much younger man and is having fun. Sloane is embarrassed by her aunt's openness and cannot get away from her fast enough. Once they all part ways, Jackson and Sloane end up sitting in the corner, drinking and chatting away. They start discussing romantic comedies, and Sloane confesses she just cannot seem to like them anymore. There is always a fake reason for the main characters to not get together, and Sloane hates how it seems so unreal. She points out that if Ryan Gosling ever waltzed her around the room to the theme of Dirty Dancing, she would take up on that offer right then. No person in their sane mind would say no to Ryan Gosling. Jackson agrees. Jackson wants to know who broke Sloane's heart for her to hate romantic comedies. His name was Luke. He was French, handsome, and smart. Sloane reminisces. Jackson asks her what happened between them, and Sloane tells him that he cheated on her with a Starbucks waitress. Jackson sympathizes with her. Sloane goes to the washroom and finds the girl she saw earlier, whom Jackson predicted was getting engaged, crying as she had a huge red wine stain on her dress. The girl's friends try to console her, but she is inconsolable. Sloane overhears what the girls are talking about and feels bad for the bride-to-be. She ends up trading dresses with the girl. Sloane walks to Jackson in a wine-soaked white dress instead of her black one. Jackson laughs at her, but she asks him to dance. The two dance the night away and have the time of their life. They drink one too many drinks. The song Time of My Life from Dirty Dancing starts to play, and Jackson and Sloane exchange a knowing look. The two decide to recreate the famous scene from that movie. Everyone clears up the dance floor for them, and Sloane, nervous but excited, runs toward Jackson. She jumps and he effortlessly catches her. Everyone applauds, but the happiness is short-lived as Sloane's dress tears off and slips. She tumbles down and falls on top of Jackson. The two ice their wounds and sit in a corner. Jackson excuses himself to go to the washroom. A few seconds later, the countdown begins, and Sloane starts to feel alone and sad. She wishes Jackson were around, so she would not have to start the new year alone. She watches the other couples around the room kiss and be in love as the clock strikes 12. Sloane is disheartened, and her happy night begins to fade. Jackson returns a few seconds late, and the two share an awkward kiss on the cheek. On the cab ride back home, Jackson tells Sloane he had a fun night. He asks her what her plans are for Valentine's Day. Sloane tells him that's 2 months away, and that a lot can change in 2 months. If not, she has a standing date with the candy store. She had fun with him as well, but Sloane is not thrilled to be planning a date with a stranger 2 months in advance. She hates being single. The two go their separate ways. It is Valentine's Day, and Sloane is still single. She is in a cafe with her elder sister and Liz, who are planning the upcoming wedding. Sloane gets teased for not having a date on Valentine's Day, but she defends herself. Liz asks her to call Farouk, but Sloane does not want to date anyone her mother sets her up with. Her sister suggests the guy she met at the mall, Jackson, but Sloane rejects him as well. It was a one-time thing, and Jackson was not even attracted to her. He said so to her face. They have not been in touch since that night. Besides, Sloane tries to convince them that she is perfectly happy being single. But Liz is worried that Sloane would be alone at her wedding. It is in 8 months. Sloane can find someone until then, but no one has confidence in her anymore. She is wearing pajamas in public for crying out loud. Sloane leaves the girls and goes to the candy store. She is sampling candies at the mall shop when she runs into her ex, Luke. Sloane becomes a completely different person around him. She is also ashamed of how she is dressed while Luke looks handsome. Sloane is flustered to see him. Luke is there with his new girlfriend, Felicity. She is younger than Sloane, who is in a big shock. It frazzles Sloane and she starts to blabber and stutter. Jackson is out shopping for himself when sees Sloane from the store window. He sizes up the situation and then rushes to her rescue. He throws an arm around Sloane and pretends to be her boyfriend. He sings her praises and makes Sloane sound like a catch. Sloane is embarrassed, but she goes along with the charades. Saving the day, Jackson manages to make Luke a little jealous as he takes Sloane away from there. Sloane feels sick after having made a fool of herself. She feels terrible that Luke is dating a younger girl who is much prettier. Jackson tries to make her feel better by saying that the younger the woman is, the less likely she is to commit. Sloane feels better by that, but then she realizes she did not pay for the candies. She stole them. Sloane thanks Jackson for helping her out with Luke before. The two end up in Sloane's car eating candies. Sloane is a bad influence on Jackson. He vowed to never eat junk, and here is eating chocolates. Jackson finds out about Sloane's smoking and does not approve of inhaling tobacco. The two get to talking and finally agree on being each other's holidays until either of the two finds someone else. They shake hands on a friends with no benefits holiday. It is St. Patrick's Day. Jackson and Sloane are in a bar celebrating the holiday dressed in all green. Sloane is wearing a green hair wig. Coincidentally, Sloane's brother, York, is also at the venue with Liz and Abby, their elder sister. Jackson and York already know each other since Jackson gives golf lessons to York. Sloane introduces everyone. Abby asks Sloane about her relationship with Jackson, and Sloane tells her that they are just holidates. They only meet during holidays to be each other's dates, and never talk in between the dates. Sloane is completely satisfied with this arrangement. A few weeks later, it is Easter, and Sloane has brought Jackson home with her to the Easter dinner. Farouk comes in a bunny costume. He greets Sloane and is a perfect gentleman. Elaine tries to set Sloane up with him, but Sloane is not interested. Elaine warns her that Sloane does not want to end up like her Aunt Susan, and she should stop with this holiday nonsense and find a decent man to date. Sloane just shrugs her mother off with a joke. When Sloane and Jackson get some time alone, Jackson tells her that Farouk seems like a nice guy and that Sloane should go for him. But Sloane is not sure about it. She is not ready yet and is still processing her heartbreak from a year ago. Women process heartbreak differently than men who just move on. Jackson counters her statement and gets personally offended. He tells her it is just as hard for men to process heartbreak. He goes on to rant about his own experience in the third person, but gets so worked up towards the end that he slips out, and Sloane finds out that he has been talking about himself. Jackson had his heart broken by some girl who stole his panini maker. On Cinco de Mayo, Jackson and Sloane meet to celebrate together. They get very drunk and have a conversation about their intimate lives. Jackson tells Sloane he took a waitress home the night of St. Patrick's Day. Sloane is shocked and a little thrown off to hear that. She had not thought Jackson was seeing other people while they were in between dates, but apparently he was. Sloane tries to play it cool by saying that she has a life as well, and just because she does not take random people home does not mean Jackson has to feel bad about her. Jackson and Sloane get to arguing about the topic and end up drinking a lot more than either of them can handle. When morning comes, Sloane wakes up in Jackson's apartment wearing a combination of both their undergarments. Sloane is mortified, and the two try to figure out if they spent the night together intimately. Neither of them has an answer, but they decide to settle on a solid no. It is an embarrassing situation. Sloane, Jackson, and Elaine sit together at Mother's Day brunch. Elaine goes on about how inappropriate and wasteful it is for them to be spending time like this on meaningless dates. She wants Sloane to find someone she can settle down with. Sloane tries to tell Elaine that she is perfectly content with her arrangement with Jackson. This is not meaningless to them, since they are friends now. Elaine is still not convinced. Jackson and Sloane make light of the situation and get on their merry way. Come the 4th of July, Jackson is spending time with Sloane's family again. They are going out to the lake house to celebrate the 4th of July. On the way over Aunt Susan's holiday, Uncle Sam gets Liz high. Once everyone reaches the lake house, the men get to bursting firecrackers while the women take time to relax and loosen up. The girls get Liz to relax a little. Sloane makes it her mission to get Liz to let go of her repressed self and learn to express herself. Liz is shy, but Sloane is determined. A commotion breaks near the lake, and York comes running to Sloane. He asks her for a first aid kit. While burning crackers, Jackson blows his finger off. His middle finger detaches from his hand and falls into the sand. When Sloane finds out, she panics. Everything is a frenzy for a while, until the boys find Jackson's finger, and Sloane is put in charge of taking him to the hospital. There is only one problem: Sloane does not do too well with blood. Sloane is less than thrilled about having to escort Jackson to the hospital with his missing finger. And while Jackson kept calm for a while, he too begins to panic when he sees his detached phalange on his lap rather than inside an ice bag. Sloane somehow managed to bring Jackson to the hospital. The two get high and forget all about whatever they were panicking about. Jackson is much more relaxed now, and Sloane is laughing away. They both make a lot of finger puns and laugh their bellies off. The on-duty doctor turns out to be none other than Farouk, Elaine's doctor neighbor, whom she was trying to set up Sloane with. Sloane, in her high, is happy to see Farouk. Farouk flirts with her too. Jackson does not like what he witnesses. He is not too happy to see Sloane give attention to another man. After Jackson is all bandaged up, and his finger has been surgically reattached, Sloane brings him home. She tucks him onto the sofa and makes sure he is comfortable. She tells him that she called his mother and left her a message about his little accident. Jackson is grateful for Sloane's help. He apologizes for ruining her day, but Sloane brushes it away, saying that holiday rule number 3 is to leave no holiday behind. Jackson appreciates that. The two share a small moment where their hands touch, and they feel a spark at the same time. But neither knows what the other is thinking. Sloane and Jackson get awkward, and Sloane decides to leave. She wishes Jackson would stop her, but he, too, is confused about what he is feeling. Sloane goes home. Sloane and Jackson talk to their respective confidants about what they felt that night. Jackson talks to his friend, Neil, and Sloane talks to her sister, Abby. Both feel like they felt something that day when their hands touched, and there was a vibe. Sloane is afraid she might have real feelings for Jackson. Jackson feels the same, but he does not want to commit. Since Sloane's brother's wedding falls on the same day as Labor Day, Jackson has to go with Sloane. But if he goes to the wedding with Sloane, it will not be as her holiday, but as her real date. This confuses Jackson. Neil tells him that he cannot go to a wedding with a girl who has actual feelings for him. He tells Jackson to wait and see what Sloane says about this mix of events. Abby, on the other hand, advises Sloane to wait and see if Jackson tries to wiggle his way out of this arrangement. If he does, then he does not have genuine feelings for Sloane. But if he agrees to go as her date to the wedding, then Sloane can make her move. Sloane likes that idea. Jackson is shopping for a wedding gift for York and Liz. He video calls Sloane for help, and as the two of them talk, Jackson brings up the wedding date dilemma. Sloane tells him she had the same thought. Jackson is relieved to know that Sloane is on the same page as him. But the two of them are thinking different things. Sloane is happy too because she wanted to take Jackson as her date. It is not until Jackson suggests that they should find dates for the wedding that Sloane understands what he meant earlier. Sloane feels disappointed, but she tries to fake that she is fine. York and Liz get married in a lavish venue. Everyone is happy. Sloane brings Farouk as her date, while Jackson brings Sloane's Aunt Susan. Sloane is shocked and offended, but Abby asks her to control her temper. She cannot betray her real emotions to Jackson. When Jackson catches Sloane looking his way, Sloane starts to flirt with Farouk. She gets touchy with him, and while he is confused, Farouk enjoys it. Jackson, on the other hand, gets jealous when he sees that. Sloane and Jackson engage in a quiet game of jealous charade. Jackson and Sloane meet at the bar when they are getting drinks. It is an awkward and short encounter, but just as Jackson starts to leave, Sloane asks him if he is going to sleep with her aunt. She is repulsed by the idea of the two of them together. Jackson asks her the same question regarding Farouk. Sloane is callous about her response. The two get into a banter, and in their verbal spat, they decide to rethink their holiday arrangement. The father-daughter dance is announced. Liz and her father start dancing, but the song playing is very inappropriate for a father-daughter moment. Liz seems oblivious to it and is having fun. But Sloane and Jackson are mortified on their behalf. They break up the two, and finally other couples join them on the dance floor. When Sloane and Jackson finally peel themselves away from the crowd, they stand side by side and watch, mortified and shocked, as both their dates dance intimately with each other. Farouk and Aunt Susan hit it off on the dance floor, and everyone is shocked as they dance together. When they see Sloane and Jackson watching them with shock on their faces, they break apart. Everyone dances with their respective partners. Sloane and Jackson try to make each other jealous. Aunt Susan gets hurt while dancing. She falls and Farouk rushes to her rescue. He picks her up and takes her away. This is appalling but also predictable. Sloane and Jackson decide to meet again on Halloween. It is Halloween. Sloane is getting dressed and her sister, Abby, is trying to tie the laces on Sloane's unbelievably tight dress. The corset of the dress is so tight, Sloane can hardly breathe. Abby finally manages to tie the knots and gives Sloane an antacid pill to help her get through the night. At the party, Jackson comes as Jack Sparrow, and Neil comes in a Black Panther fursuit. Jackson is mesmerized by how good Sloane looks. The party is fun, and Sloane and Jackson are enjoying themselves when Sloane catches the sight of her ex-boyfriend, Luke, making his way toward them. Sloane gets instantly nervous and conscious. She starts feeling a little dizzy and uncomfortable too. Luke has brought his girlfriend Felicity, who is pregnant. She is due in 2 days. Sloane starts laughing maniacally. Sensing the mood shift, Abby takes Sloane to the side just in time for Sloane to start hyperventilating. Sloane does not feel well, and the dress she is wearing is making her more uncomfortable because it is so tight. Abby gives her another antacid and Sloane pops it in. Jackson comes to save the day, but Sloane snaps at him for giving her a dress so tight. He takes Sloane home because she is not feeling well suddenly. Sloane is having terrible stomach cramps, and she is also freaking out about Luke and Felicity's pregnancy. Jackson manages to drag her into the elevator. Abby realizes that the pills she gave Sloane were not antacids but laxatives. Sloane's stomach begins to cramp and make funny noises. Sloane rushes Jackson to untie her corset because her stomach feels like a landmine. Sloane finally makes it home, and she rushes into the washroom. Later, Jackson helps Sloane clean up and takes care of her. Sloane is mortified beyond words. Jackson makes her feel at ease. Sloane is worried he might now tell this as an anecdote at parties. Jackson assures her that he will not do anything like that. He sleeps next to her in her bed that night. The next morning, Sloane and Jackson feel a spark between. They get close and intimate. Later, Sloane is not sure how to feel. She likes Jackson, but she is hesitant to get her heart broken again. She asks him to leave if he wants to. He does not have to feel obligated to stay. Jackson is a little confused because he wanted to stay with her. But before they can talk more, Sloane's doorbell starts to ring incessantly. It is Abby. She is panicking because she kissed the man dressed as the Black Panther last night. But she is happily married, a mother of 4. Abby feels terrible because her husband is a saint, and she cannot believe she kissed another man. Jackson walks in and hears their conversation but pretends to be oblivious. When Abby sees Jackson there, she realizes something happened between Sloane and him. Sloane dismisses her and Jackson is a little disappointed that she did. Jackson is still waiting for Sloane to stop him, but Sloane does not. Jackson leaves and Sloane tells him she will see him at Thanksgiving. Jackson shares his disappointment with Neil. Neil is obsessing over his kiss with Abby. Jackson is upset with the turn of events, and he does not think he can do the holiday thing anymore. He tells Neil that, but Neil tells him to go to Thanksgiving and act like none of this affects him. Jackson agrees to pretend like that. Before leaving, he advises Neil to forget about Abby because she is a happily married mother of 4. It is Thanksgiving at Elaine's house. Sloane and Abby are setting the dinner table when Aunt Susan walks in with her new holiday. It is a slightly older man, Wally. He praises Elaine's cooking. Sloane wants to know why Aunt Susan did not invite Farouk. They seem to like each other when they met at Halloween. Aunt Susan tells her that everything ends eventually, and she is not one to wait around for it to happen. Elaine is setting the table when she contemplates if she wants to put in the leaf for Jackson. She is not sure if he is going to show up. Sloane tells her he will. The two argue over the matter when a beep sounds from the kitchen. The turkey is burnt. Elaine sends Sloane out shopping for turkey and pie. They open the door just as Jackson is about to knock. He has a pie, but Elaine asks Sloane to bring one just in case. Jackson tags along with Sloane to the store. Everything is a little awkward between them. Sloane is walking a cart down the aisle, munching on chips while they two make small talk. But Jackson cannot take it anymore. He wants to talk about what happened between them that day. He tells Sloane he did not want to leave that day. Sloane counters that she did not see him begging to stay. Besides, what was she to understand? He never even found her attractive. He said so himself. Jackson is annoyed. Why can't Sloane just let that go? Jackson tells her that they were strangers back when he said that stuff. He could not just tell her how he found her so incredibly beautiful, without creeping her out. If he did, she would not have gone out with him as her holiday. Now that he has confessed, he asks her if that changes anything for the both of them. Sloane is tongue-tied, but also afraid to have a real relationship. She likes Jackson, but she does not want to get hurt again. She says no, and that angers Jackson. He calls her out on trying so hard to not feel anything. He tells her that she is scared, and she is stopping herself from it. The two get into a verbal fight in the frozen foods aisle, and Jackson tells Sloane that even if Ryan Gosling came waltzing in, offering to take her on the ride of her life, she would still say no, because she would be too afraid to get on the Ryan Gosling train. When Sloane gets home, everyone asks her where Jackson is. Sloane does not care where is. Her family gets on her case about how she must have messed something up, and that she should apologize to Jackson. Sloane is livid. Why is it obvious that she messed something up? Abby tells Sloane that she should have just been honest about her feelings. Sloane does not take that well. In a moment of a heated argument, she counteracts Abby's remark by telling her that she should be the last person to talk about honesty because she kissed the Black Panther at the Halloween party. Abby's husband, Peter, hears this. He and Abby get into a fight. Suddenly, Wally falls onto a chair. He is having a heart attack. The ambulance comes. Aunt Susan drags Sloane with her to the hospital. Aunt Susan does not want to be there waiting for a random guy she met while he recovers from a heart attack. She had to write his name on his arm to remember it. She tells Sloane, defeatedly, how it is all her fault. She had so many opportunities, but she was afraid of getting hurt. Once she got too close, she backed off. She regrets it because now she is old, single, and alone. Her speech resonates with Sloane. The doctor treating Wally is none other than Farouk. When Aunt Sloane sees him, she rushes to him. The two share a polite hello and he tells her about Wally's condition. Then he walks away. Aunt Susan wants to go away, but Sloane tells her to stop Farouk. Susan finally takes the opportunity and tells him that she messed up earlier. The two confess their love to each other and kiss. Sloane finds herself alone in her house. She has not talked to Jackson in a long time, but she cannot rid herself of his memories. She finds a strip of Polaroid pictures of them from the Cinco de Mayo party in a book, and feels even sadder. Days go by and Sloane ends up in front of Jackson's building. She is about to push in the buzzer for his apartment, when Jackson walks out the door behind her. He does not see her, but Sloane does. But she does not say anything. She lets him go, missing her chance with him. It is Christmas time. Sloane is in the mall with Abby, Liz, and Daisy. Abby is disappointed in Sloane for not reaching out to Jackson. Jackson and Liz spot each other while crossing the escalator. He is going down, she is going up. The two get nervous and avoid each other. Liz and Abby tell Sloane that it is fate, and she should go after him. But Sloane dismisses it. She is still scared. In the end, it is her niece Daisy who comes through to Sloane. She tells her that life is giving her a moment, and she should not mess it up. Sloane rushes all the way down, calling Jackson's name. But it is very crowded and loud in the mall that she cannot reach him. Sloane manages to get up on the stage where a group of people is caroling. She stands atop Santa's chair and calls Jackson's name, but to no avail. When the choir group sees this, they sing Jackson's name to stop him. Jackson hears that and he stops walking. He turns to find Sloane on the stage. Someone hands her a mic, and Sloane apologizes to Jackson in a very grand manner. She confesses that she has feelings for him. Jackson watches her intently. The crowd cheers. She tells him she misses him so much that she stopped smoking and eating candies. He ruined all his vices for her, and that it was the worst Thanksgiving of her life when they fought. Jackson laughs at her cute attempt at confession. The two rush towards each other to hug and kiss. Everyone applauds. In the end, all the couples get together. Jackson and Sloane go to Australia for New Year. Aunt Susan and Farouk get married. Abby and Peter get remarried in Vegas. Liz and York work through their relationship and get matching tattoos. Even Elaine finds love with Wally.